乔氏台球桌，央视、中视八球国际大师赛指定用台，全国2000家高端台球俱乐部的选择。乔氏台球桌，
大家好，我喜欢
乔氏，中视八球领导者。
I had never played Chinese 8-ball before. I could see that the game was very difficult. I wouldn't be very good. Big pressure and big crowds. It is not easy to play well under these conditions. The Chinese players are very good. I believe in myself, makes you come back stronger. I felt much more comfortable. Incredible for me.
Gareth Potts.
I always want to win. I always want to be the best. If you want to be the best, then you have to work hard. At anything, you have to practice hard and you have to put a lot of work. 6-7 hours a day. What makes you stronger as a person, and keep on going forward. Master the break. It is not about luck, it is about skill. Is my cue perfect for Chinese 8-ball? I started playing 8-ball when I was 7 years old. My mother and my father, big influences in my life, playing 8-ball. At this time, you know, this was the most difficult time of my life, and I nearly stopped playing 8-ball. I just didn't think I could carry on playing, you know, because my life was a mess. I think playing 8-ball gave me something to focus on. So I made a decision that I would carry on playing and try to make them proud. Like I say, I'd never played Chinese 8-ball before, and when I got invited to play in the Masters, the only time I'd ever seen Chinese 8-ball was I did some research on the internet to see what the game was, and you know, I could see that the game was very difficult. So before the Masters, I asked, you know, Joy if I can come out maybe 4 or 5 days before the tournament to practice and just to learn and see the game, because to be honest, I was worried that I wouldn't be very good, so I wanted to learn just so I at least would not embarrass myself when I played in the tournament, and I could maybe at least win 1 or 2 matches. So I came out 4 or 5 days before the tournament the first time and practiced like for 6-7 hours a day for 4 days. So for me to then go and win the Masters after this was incredible for me. I think because I come from an English pool background, you know, I come from playing 8-ball pool, and although it is on a different table with different balls and different equipment, different cues, it is still playing English 8-ball, so it is still 8-ball. So I think a big part of playing 8-ball on any table with any rules is the patterns are really important. So how to go about the finish, so which balls to take in which order, and I think the English players especially are very, very good at this. So for me, it was just about learning the balls, because the balls are much bigger than what I am used to. So once I felt a little bit more comfortable with the balls, I felt like, you know, I could you know, start to become good at Chinese 8-ball, and I instantly fell in love with the game as soon as I played the first day. So even if I had not have won the Masters, I would still have said that this is the best game that I have played. But I think the Chinese players are very good. There is a lot of very, very good players, and I think maybe they don't perform as well as maybe they can when they play in the Masters, because, you know, big pressure and the TV, CCTV5, and big crowds. So it is not easy, you know, to play well under these conditions. I mean, you know, at the end of the day, you know, when you're playing 8-ball pool, you know, you can always lose a match, and you always have to be prepared to lose. And like I said, there is a lot of good players, and the 2 matches that I've lost in the Masters were both to Chinese players, and I lost both matches at the same stage of the tournament, which was the 3rd round of the winners side, both matches the same time. The first match I lose in the first Chinese Masters was very difficult, because I was 12-10 in front, first to 13, and at 12 each I make a really bad mistake. So mentally for me this was hard, but you know, the next day is a new day, and you know, you have to just carry on playing. So it's all about how you deal with the mental side, and I also believe that the psychology behind playing cue sports, especially Chinese 8-ball, is a huge part of the game, because there are many good players all over the world, and it's the very small things that separate the top players at the very, very top level. So this is, you know, difficult to take, but you know, I believe in myself, and you know, I believe, you know, that especially this year for the Masters, because I now have a table in England. So this year I felt much more comfortable. You know, I felt more like I had learned how to play. So even though I lost a match each tournament, you know, I still just kept believing in myself, and at the end, you know, I was lucky enough to be able to come through and win. Any sport, it is about how you deal with the failure and how you deal with losing, because this is what makes you come back stronger. Now, I think a lot of people that play any sport, when they lose, it really affects their confidence, and they struggle to then, you know, come back stronger. I think for me, when I lose, I think about why I lose and what I did wrong, and try to put that right in the next match. The special thing behind the Potts breaking is the first time I came to China for the 4 days to practice before I'd ever played Chinese 8-ball before. The first thing I tried to do was to master the break, because the break is a huge part of Chinese 8-ball. I practiced and kept practicing to work out where the balls go from the break, because many players, not only Chinese players but all the players, they just break the balls as hard as they can and hopefully try to pot a ball. It is luck, where I wanted to take away the luck from the break and try to work out a pattern, so therefore I know if I hit the break at a certain pace, at a certain place on the cue ball, then I can get certain balls going into the same pocket. So this is the secret behind the Potts breaking, is I have developed a break that when I hit at the correct speed, in the correct place, that I can get the balls going into the same pocket. So therefore, my break is not about luck, it is about skill. The biggest secret is the cue, is my cue. The cue that I use is because I think if I did not use this cue, I could not be as good a player at Chinese 8-ball, because I think the cue is, well, the cue is specially designed for Chinese 8-ball. When I first got invited to play in the Masters, I looked at the table and the balls, and I looked at the equipment that the players use, so the Chinese players and other players. I looked at the cues that they use, and some players use a snooker cue, some players use an American pool cue. I didn't think either of these cues was correct for Chinese 8-ball. I think a snooker cue is not correct because it's too thin, not enough power, you can't be accurate enough. I think an American cue is also not correct for Chinese 8-ball because the pockets are so tight that you have to be so precise. So this is not good with a Chinese, an American cue. So I want to develop my own style cue that I believe is suitable and perfect for Chinese 8-ball. So with my cue makers, I sit down and design a cue that is in between a snooker cue and an American cue. So we have some special designs of the cue where the shaft of the cue is specially designed to generate a lot of power. There is a special ferrule on the cue, which is a carbon fiber, a special thermoplastic, which when you play with side spin doesn't push the cue ball offline, doesn't deflect either way. So there are a lot of special things that have gone into this cue, and I believe that this cue is perfect for playing Chinese 8-ball, and I believe it is a special cue and is a Chinese 8-ball cue. You know, the other cues, one is a snooker cue, one is an American cue. I think I have now found a cue that is perfect for this game. It has its own cue now, which I believe is the Potts cue, the Chinese 8-ball. You know, I do practice a lot now. I have the table in the UK because I believe to be the best at anything you have to practice hard and you have to put a lot of work in. Nothing comes easy in life, so if you want to be the best, then you have to work hard, but not only practice hard, but I try to study. Like when I first played Chinese 8-ball, the first thing I studied was the break, because this is a big part of many players can hot the balls, many players are very good, but I thought if I can be different and have a different skill than all the other players, as in I know what is happening from the break, I can guarantee these things, then this is a big advantage for me. So I am like a student of the game. I try to learn, and I have been playing 8-ball, you know, since I was like 7 years old, and I still believe each day, you know, I still learn. Even though I've only been playing Chinese 8-ball for maybe 1.5 years, I still believe I have so much to learn. Even though I have won the Masters twice, for me this is great and I am really happy, but for me, I still want to keep on improving and keep on going forward. So to some degree, I forget about my achievements and each day just carry on working hard, because I have only played this game for 1.5 years. Just because I win 2 Masters, I still feel like I don't know too much yet about this game. I still feel like I have so much to learn, and I still feel like I can improve a lot. So I will definitely keep on practicing hard and hopefully keep on improving. I always want to win. I always want to be the best, whether it's playing 8-ball or maybe just playing some games with my friends, or maybe just, you know, anything that I do in life. I try to be the best. I am really competitive. I always try to be professional, and I always try to do my best, no matter what this is. So when I play 8-ball, you know, I always want to win, and I always like to feel that when I go to a tournament, I have prepared properly and I am ready, because mentally I think this is a big part of it. Because if I had not practiced, or, you know, maybe feel like I turn up to a tournament without being fully prepared, I think this will maybe affect me mentally. So if I feel prepared and feel like I have put the work in, then I feel like maybe I deserve to win. I started playing 8-ball when I was 7 years old, and my mother and my father were sort of big influences in my life playing 8-ball. When I was 13, my mother passed away. So after then, you know, I continued to play 8-ball. Then when I was 16, I turned professional at English 8-ball. So, you know, I continued to play in all the tournaments, and after my mum passed away, my mother, me and my father were really close friends, and he loved me playing 8-ball, and he travelled to watch me play 8-ball all over the world. Then in 2005, when I was 21, my father passed away also. So this was, you know, a huge part of my life. And, you know, me and my father, he was not only my father, but he was my best friend. So at this time, you know, this was the most difficult time of my life, and I nearly stopped playing 8-ball because I just didn't think I could carry on playing, you know, because my life was a mess, and without my mother and father, I didn't think I could carry on.
乔氏台球桌，央视中式8球国际大师赛指定用台，全国2000家高端台球俱乐部的选择。乔氏台球桌，
大家好，我喜欢
乔氏中式8球领导者。
But I carried on playing, and I have now won 4 English World Pool Championships since my father died. My father passed away in the March of 2005, and I win my first English World Championships in the June, so like 3 months later. And this was the worst time for me because he did not get to see me win. But so when I win the Masters and I point up to the sky, this is me pointing to my mother and father to say, you know, this is for you.
So at that time you just want them to look at you?
Yes, because I believe that although they are not here, I believe they are still watching. So this was just a signal to them.
So how was your life like after they both of them leaving your life? Is it tough?
Yes, because when my mother passed away, I was 13, and my father still had to go away to work. So I lived with my grandparents, and my grandparents raised me while my father was away working. So now both of my grandparents are still alive, so they are now like my mother and father to me, because they raised me from when I was young. So life was tough, and you know, living with, you know, your grandparents for a lot of my childhood, I am now a lot closer to them. So life, you know, for me as a child was not easy, and I think playing 8-ball gave me something to focus on. You know, it would have been quite easy for me to just, maybe in England we say, go off the rails and just, you know, end up maybe drinking and drugs and smoke, you know, and just, but I made a choice that I either focus on 8-ball and be the best I can be for them, for my parents, or I finish, you know, or I finish playing and maybe I don't know what I would do. So I made a decision that I would carry on playing and try to make them proud. When I play 8-ball, you asked before, how do you deal with losing a match? How do you deal with failure? Well, for me, losing a match at 8-ball after what I have been through in my life is nothing, you know? Actually, this is nothing, because if I lose a match at 8-ball, then so what? You know, because of everything I have been through, losing doesn't really mean anything when you put this into perspective with everything that has happened in my life. So I believe what has happened has made me stronger as a person, and this definitely translates into, you know, not only playing 8-ball but just everyday life. And like you say, you know, when you're younger and, you know, maybe you get teased about these things, but all of these things, I think, are what makes you stronger as a person and makes you stronger as a character. If I am at home in the UK, I go to the gym nearly every day, because I believe that not only to look physically good, but I believe that being physically fit helps you to be mentally fit. So doing the cardio workouts, the running and the bike, I believe this helps with the mental fitness also that translates when I am playing pool. I think this is a big part, to be physically and mentally fit makes a difference, especially when playing a lot of matches, like for example in the Masters. We play a lot of matches, some matches, 2 or 3 matches in one day. This is maybe, 7 or 10 hours. If you are not fit, after maybe 1 or 2 matches, you're tired and mentally you lose concentration. So I think the gym plays a big part in this. So I don't only do the gym to physically try to look good. I do the gym, also because I believe the fitness side helps. I think Joy are the only company to be with in China. I know there are other companies, but for me, Joy are the only company that I would ever want to sign with. Joy are the company that first gave me the chance to play in the Chinese 8-Ball Masters last year. Obviously, I win and then I come back and win this year. They invite me back. So, me as a person, I am quite a loyal person, and I will always appreciate Joy and the chance that they have given me in Chinese 8-Ball. So I will always show my support and always show my loyalness to Joy. But apart from that, they also make the best Chinese 8-Ball tables. The tables that they make are incredible, and they are far better, literally worlds apart from the tables that I have grown up playing English 8-Ball on. So for me to now play on this table, which Joy have sent me a table to my club in the UK, so for me to have the opportunity now to practice on one of these tables is an honour. So yes, this is the reason why I signed with Joy. Ever since playing and being invited by Joy, then it has been nothing but joy for me. So hopefully this can continue for a long time for me, because I see my future with Joy and my future out in China. Last year was obviously a great experience for me, playing in the first Masters and winning. But I feel like I still have a lot to learn about Chinese 8-Ball, because I've still only played a handful of matches. So now I also have my own Joy table back in England. So over the coming years, since Joy sent me the table, it's not really that I don't want people to touch the table, or I'm like, it's just, for me now, Chinese 8-Ball is really important for my future, and the Joy table that is in my club is the only one, I think, that is in Europe, or maybe the only one outside of China, I don't know, but I think that definitely this is the only table that is in Europe that is a Joy table. So to get this table over to the UK was a huge amount of work, because these tables are of a high quality, very heavy. It had to be shipped over. It took over 40 days on the boat to ship over. So all of these things taken into account, I don't want the table to be damaged. And the people that play in my club are just fans and just regular amateur players. And if I were to let them play on the table, I would be too worried about them damaging the table. And also for me, when I come to China and play the matches and do the shows and for the tournament, I want this table, my table, to play and to be in the best condition possible, ready for when I come to China to play. So this is the reason why, But I don't only play on the table myself. I practice with other good players. It's just, I just don't open up the table to the public. I am what we call in England a perfectionist. So perfectionist, everything that I do, I try to do perfect. And if I can't do this perfect, then I get angry and annoyed. And I think this is the reason why I work so hard and I always try to learn, because everything that I do, I want to try and do perfect. And for me, I always think if I can't do something perfect, then I want to keep going and keep doing this until I achieve perfection. Now, you know, sometimes people say to me that, you know, I am maybe sometimes a little bit disrespectful after a match, not to other people but maybe to myself, and sometimes I come off and I win a match by a big score, maybe, you know, 13-2, 13-3, and in the interview they say, how did you play? And I say, I don't feel like I played very good. And they say, but you won 13-2. And this is just me, because unless I play perfect, then I am never satisfied. So some people misunderstand me, because unless I can be perfect, I am never fully happy. But this is just me as a person.
So will you play Chinese 8-ball for the rest of the time, no matter good day or bad day, happiness or sorrow, and no matter the golden boy or the golden old dude?
Yeah, well, yes. The answer is yes, because from the moment I first played this game, you know, I fell in love with this game, because I have played every other cue sport. You know, I have played American pool, American 8-ball, snooker, English pool. You know, I have played every cue sport there is to play, and this is definitely my favorite. And I don't say this just because I am good at this and because I have won the Masters twice. If I had played in 2 Masters and lost first round both times, I would still say the same, that I think this game is the best game I have ever seen. So yes, I will still, well, I hope to always play Chinese 8-ball. And as long as, you know, I am with Joy, then I want to keep coming to China to play Chinese 8-ball, because I now see this as my future. As for the golden boy, well, maybe you have to call me the golden old man in the future.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
That's very good.
Very good?
Very good.
Thank you.
Well done.
And well done to you.
Thank you.
I said a lot of stuff that I wanted to say. Yeah. I felt that interview went really good. I felt like that was the best interview I have done.